Good evening, our viewer. Hope you had a very beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on your favorite spot, the Youth Nation Show. Thank you for always tuning in and keeping it here at PrayerCaveTV. You know, we always bring you various programs that are meant to educate you, meant to edify you. They are meant to teach you, make you grow spiritually and holistically. And I'm so delighted that you're here with us this evening. Today we have our guest on studio, but of course, I have my co-host with me. Hi, Ron.
Hi, what's
Say
up?
hi. What's up?
Sasini Wase. My name is Ron Kenol. I'm your co-host today at the Youth Nation. And you won't imagine who we have as a guest here.
Oh, yay. One and only.
Brian Nyambego. I'm happy to be here again to talk about, areas that can elevate every single person, every single young person out there. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. So today we want to talk about mental wellness. What is it to be mentally well? What is it to be mentally healthy? What do we need to do to be mentally healthy? And what do we need to avoid? And what are the symptoms? And what is causing these mental illnesses around us? And today we have Brian, as he has mentioned, and he's going to take us through. Let us understand Gen Z. What probably would make a Gen Z have a mental illness? You know,
Yeah.
these people have free spirits, they are free-willed. So I'm looking at this person and thinking probably
Yeah.
they don't know what stress is, but you're going to learn more. Join me even as we dive into the topic today. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Tell us, maybe we can start by defining what is mental wellness.
Someone said that if you have a problem with me, text me.
Okay.
And if you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. That's number one. You see, young people or anybody, okay, being a Gen Z, sorry. I mean, there's so many things that we look at.
Yeah.
You know, let's say you're on Instagram, like all you're focusing on is the comments. This person doesn't know your personal life. They haven't even contributed anything regards your mental wellness, regards just anything in your life.
Yeah.
But you're focusing on the one negative comment. I mean, so many young people in terms of mental wellness, I think they're looking at things they're not supposed to look at. And that's what brings them down to a level whereby they're stressed and all that. Yeah, and that's why, as I said earlier, that if you have a problem with me, text me.
Yeah.
If you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. That's it.
But again, Gen Zs, what else are you guys more concerned if not numbers? You know?
Yeah.
So the comments, the better it is. Or
In every aspect.
the
likes.
the likes,
Yeah.
yeah.
The money.
Yeah, I think so many people usually focus on that. Okay, the numbers usually say a lot. They usually talk a lot.
Yeah.
They show who you are. Like, I mean, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't focus on the negative things. No, for me, what I usually do just to protect my mental wellness, I usually focus on the positive things all the way up. Yeah.
Oh, so you've had a moment where
Yeah.
things have gone haywire for you.
Yeah, I have. I have.
What happened?
You probably, let's say, you can go online. You posted some good content. You were expecting to probably inspire someone, transform someone.
Yeah.
But someone is on the comments because that thing didn't work for them. Now they're projecting their fears, to other people who have probably gotten some let's say some nuggets from that content. They're like, oh, okay. I think there is this other time there's there's a pastor who posted something about 2024 will be your best year. Then someone went to the comments akasema, last year you said the same thing na nikafungiwa nyumba. So I was like, wow, such kind of things. And it went viral all across. So I think such kind of people, I mean, yes, Pasi amesema 2024 will be your best year, is yet to be your best year. But now for you, what have you done? On your end, what have you done? Like, have you gone out there, pushed yourself? If it's that job, have you pushed yourself to make sure that probably you're going to get it? How many interviews have you gone for? Yeah.
Wow, that is big.
Yeah.
And now, how do you, maybe in your situation, how did you handle that situation? Like you had to avoid this thing, you didn't want to go into depression because of someone just making a comment,
Yeah.
or maybe just pouring their heart there. How did you protect yourself?
Okay. Once you've been in a hole, or probably, let's say in this room, there's a point whereby there's a hole somewhere. So if the lights go off, you know that I'm not supposed to step near that place because
Yeah.
that's a hole, and I'm going to probably, I'm going to fall down or something like that. So if you've been there before, you'll know how to handle the situation. And if you've been there before, you'll always want to create a way for others. So for me, the way I usually handle those, let's say if it's hate, if it's a bad comment, I just, sometimes there's this thing they say, like if someone has had a bad day, they'll come to project their fears on you and be like, okay, this is it, this doesn't make sense and all that. So what I usually tell them is that, okay, sometimes you just ask someone, like, have you had a bad day today? That just that question, have you had a bad day today? Because it's my platform. Why are you coming to my platform to pour your fears, or probably to just write anything? So it's up to you, because it's your platform. You're the only person who knows how to handle those people. Yeah.
So experience, tunaweza sema, it's something that once you've experienced it, then taking that trajectory, you won't like do it, you'll help somebody else. And now talking a little bit about mental wellness.
Yeah.
Okay, in Africa, this is something that I think it's new to some people, to quite a number of people.
Yeah.
Especially, okay, now that they're mentioning Gen Z, I don't think millennials walikuanga na therapists.
I know.
Walikuja kusikia therapist like
It is true.
just
In their
recently.
adult
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like currently in Africa now, before like mental wellness was something, we didn't know that kuna vitu zenye watu wana experience
Yeah.
that can affect you psychologically, sindio?
Yeah.
And right now kumekuwa na evolution of therapists, yet there are still people that don't want to take that direction. I don't know what you have for them kuambia.
Okay, now that I mean, if let's say for my example, I didn't have someone who, like, let's say when I was facing that situation, I didn't have someone who was going to help me get out of it. Unless I had someone who's been there before, they'll get me out of that hole, or probably out of that situation. But one thing I believe is that sometimes things get tough, because for me, a lot of times, as we usually say, if you pray for the rain, be ready to deal with the mud as well. You pray for success, be ready to deal with the hate. There are people who didn't get to where you've gotten to, so they're like, huyu alifika aje hapa, watoto kwa zile za aliingia, probably some, like, probably you're doing some bad stuff to get that money and all that. So that's hate. But as much as you've made it, just focus on the positive side. Yeah.
I think, Ron, what you've just mentioned caught me, because I realize as millennials, we've had those times that we were really down, rock bottom, and we didn't realize that we were depressed, and so we thought it was just a way of life is full of ups and downs, and so if you're down, then what you know is to raise up, dust off yourself, and keep going, because that's what you've seen even our parents do. But now we're in the age whereby mental wellness is being openly talked about, is being campaigned all over, like people should speak out. But sasa sisi now, like personally, there are times now I'll sit back and realize, oh manzi, that time I was being depressed. Manzi, that was depression. And I didn't know. I remember there's a lady, there's a podcast I was listening to, and this person was talking about the symptoms of depression. There are times you don't want even to take shower, you don't want to talk to somebody, you don't want to see someone. And I realized in my life, I got to that point where I didn't want anything. I just wanted to curl up in bed. That was enough for me. Now I'm like, what? So nishaipata depression. This thing is there.
Yeah, it didn't have a word.
Yeah, it didn't have a word, It was just that low moment of life, but in real sense, that was depression. So maybe we can talk about what do you think causes this instability, mental instability.
I think we all need some people in life who will always be there for us. Let's say like accountability partners, people who will keep us going.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you lack such people, it gets to a point whereby it eats you alone.
Yeah.
No, or probably let's say a day ago, a friend of mine called me. We had a conversation for like 30 minutes to an hour. Just because she was breaking down, and then she just called me, and then she was like, okay, this is what is happening. I'm tired with this and this and this. How do I handle it? So for me, we usually have like a transparent conversation, as I usually say it. We usually have it hot, humble, open, and transparent.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's about if you have that person who you will tell the truth, because trust you me, when I was in Form 3, when my mother passed away, it was tough for me.
Yeah.
I got home, then 2 months down the line, I was depressed. Like I didn't know then, but now I know I was depressed.
Yeah.
I know I was depressed because at the end of the day, a lot of things went into shambles, be it my grades, be it the way I used to treat people, talk to people, all that, just because I didn't have someone to like, probably give me that motherly love.
Yeah.
Someone to tell me, okay, this is how it's done. So we all need that one person. And I think if you have that one person who will always be open with you, transparent with you, and tell you some truths, then I think from there you'll be good to pick it up. But if you lack that person in life, then at some point it will get tough to you. It will get tough. To learn alone, it takes a process. It's like it's like in any area in business or just anything. If you lack a mentor, then anything that you're doing, probably you're going to fail at some point, again and again and again, until you get it right. But until you get it right, the number of times you'll fail in between, you might either give up or you might either be like, okay, now let me try for the last time.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I was in that point of let me try for the last time because I didn't have someone. And I think until I had someone, it was my English teacher who came by, and then now, she acted like a mother figure to me. And until today, I'm very, very, glad that she came into my life, because, I was that, what do we say? Like we tunasemaga, I was like a mama's boy. Yeah, that's the word. So I was like a mama's boy. So that love. So I think we all need that one person, and I think that really, really matters a lot.
Now, Ali, when you may mention about like the causes a little bit, wacha ni highlight something about parental issues. Like if you're not good either at home, normally utaingia into that rock bottom. Na kuna wenye hata jua like mentally where they are. So utapata now them being in depression inakuwa it's like something yenye they're just swimming with. They're not so sure what they're dealing with. Because most of the time we were talking with somebody, alikuwa nani mentionia that alcoholism is not a problem. There's a root that is hidden behind the alcoholism. And inahitaji so much energy to go and know that ndio shida. Unaweza pata maybe somebody, okay, maybe you didn't do well in school, and then kuna ile nye unapigiwa kelele and stuff. Maybe you are expecting kuchapwa as always with the teacher, unaona. So it becomes something that is rooted in you, that you don't know that this thing is always giving you stress. So it's becoming a part of you. Then you are like, maybe you're getting something that is sweet. Like when you mentioned about some dopamine, you're getting a dopamine that is surpassing the cortisol. So unakuwa na the dopamine that is high, na cause umeonja that thing just a little while, unatakanga just to fall into it like as always. So unapata maybe the parental issues is a problem, maybe school issues is a problem. Wengine kusikia school fee hakuna, inarudisha like akili ya mtoi like chini kabisa.
Yeah, it's true. And maybe for you Gen Zs, what else do you think brings about depression or maybe destabilizes your mental wellness?
For my generation, I'll say there's this thing for the gram. Let's post for the gram. It's more of take a good picture, iko edited vizuri sana, post it, show people where, you know, someone can go through my page today on Instagram and be like, wow, this guy is doing a lot, he's doing amazing work, he's living my
Are you
dream.
trying to admit to the audience that it's not what you see, or
So
it's not what
basically,
you
you know, until they think that I never have like those moments whereby I'm low, those moments whereby I face some things with family.
Yeah.
You know, they think that you've already figured everything out until they realize that, you know, you're still going. That there are days whereby, you know, that the things that won't, you know, at the end of the day, everybody, you know, even the president of Kenya, just anyone out there who is influential in one way or the other, they usually have that moment. There is that moment.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of, we need to stop polishing our lives from, you know, it's like, look yourself in the mirror, your mirror.
Yeah.
Don't look yourself in someone's mirror and be like,
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
now that's me. Or don't try to fit your feet into shoes that you know that well enough. You know,
Can't.
I probably, let's say I usually wear number 42. Then someone else wears number 38 in terms of shoes. Now I can't take my legs to fit in there, and she or he can't come to fit
fit
the
yours.
legs into my
Yours.
shoes. So basically it's more of that's what our generation is doing basically. Like, we are trying to fit ourselves, or probably into shoes that we can't fit into, because you see, there's this thing of overnight successes. You know, that's a trend. Like, it will never happen. There's nothing like overnight successes. I think that's also another thing. You just want to wake up and be like, okay, tomorrow I need like 1 million shillings in my account. Like, I have like overnight successes. That's just a trend. It's a fad. It's just like, it just comes and it goes. You know, just like they always say, like, just like dope money, it comes quick and leaves quicker. Yeah.
So, like, okay, when you mention about the quick money and stuff, the overnight success, you know, the exposure to social media inakuonyesha the success that this person already has. You don't know the years that it has taken, like the patience that he needed and all that stuff. Maybe 7, some even maybe 15. Then akatokea kwa social media. Then whatever he's showing you is something that I may build up over time. So mimi naweza sema, okay, like the online thing, it's really bringing confusion. Like, there was it around 2 days ago, I was looking at a documentary. Now it was trying to show how kids wanakuwa exposed to social media, kuonyesha that you can transition your gender, because kama mzazi huwezi kubali mtoto wako afanye that thing, si ndio? But now the world and the society is trying to push it to them. So swiping on TikTok, they get the videos and they're like, wait, what if I'm a lady in a man's body, or I'm a man in a lady's body? Such things. So unapata sasa mtoto anaanza kukuwa na that confusion at an early age, and you know the exposition right now. It's as early as 7 years. So there were kids that were exposed, and with that in their mind, they're like, I need to, like, okay, LGBTQ has been pushed so much to a point now the kids now are Gen Z and wengine ni Gen Alpha. There's a confusion in them. They don't even know like what their gender is. And you know, once you touch the identity, bro, ushashika the mental energy, every aspect of a being. Unaona? So exposure to social media, it's really something.
But I think what happens is people should be educated about taking charge of themselves, because one thing I think we don't have control over that. You know, we won't have control over that, because if we look at social media, it has the good side of it and the other flip side of it. And as much as it has helped people, again, it has destroyed some lives. But I'm looking at it again as it is okay to post your successes. But now whoever is watching should understand this is what I can see. There's that perception that I'm seeing. But again, back of their mind, they should understand that this did not just mushroom from just anywhere. This person is supposed to see there's hard work behind it. there's consistency behind it, there's failing and raising up again behind it. So for me, I think it should be a point of motivation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
okay, if this is what I would like for life, then I can't become this. But there are things that you should put into doing for you to become that.
Sure.
So we cannot say that generally it is bad. Yeah, it is us now educating the young people.
There's the issue about the input and the output. So anytime when you tunaingia social media, we are being shown the output.
Yeah.
So the input is hidden, and the problem with the input is that the input is always boring.
I know.
So like the time it took you, imagine unajirecord social media, let's say every single week, showing the input that you're putting into something that is not already there. And then 15 years later, tunaona like ime work out. Then for us, okay, tunaona this is the output. And then yes, you are motivated, and then you start working on it. Leave alone 3 years, you are in it for 3 months.
You're giving up.
Uko like z. And then the problem with that ni kumetokea na this thing about these fake gurus. So okay, let's say in the world kitu ka forex, sana kuja na kuonyesha, oh, I made 80,000 in 3 minutes. Hey, you know the 80,000 is not in shillings. We are talking about dollars, pounds, like some real money. Unaona me make it at in 3 minutes and you're like, hey,
I want this.
Pia mimi nataka hii. Oh, juu ni nini amefanya? Most of these gurus, they're just trying to market things. So na market maybe a broker or something. Yako na salary yake. The 80,000 is just false. It's something that is not there. So unakuwa you're being sold a dream. Then you fall into the dream and you're like, things not working out for me, and unaanza kukuwa na that confusion, impatience. And you start losing it, maze.
That is true. But maybe we can look into other factors that would cause this Gen Z, this guy, this lady, to go into mental depression. Apart from now social media and all that. Because I'm looking at it that these people are outspoken. Like Gen Z will speak their mind out, like tell you how they feel, whatever they are, they are going through. And if you look at psychology, they say when you speak out is a way of healing. So I'm looking at this person who is able to express how they feel, how they want things, how they perceive things. But again, where are they going into depression?
So I think sometimes, let's say, someone grew up in a background where they were abused. I think childhood traumas is one of the biggest reason as to why people usually fall into, depression and all mental, illness. Because you see, let's say an example, someone was 7 years, 8 years, then probably they were living with their uncle. Then probably, let's say they got raped. Or someone has been living in an abusive background, or kila siku pero akikuja home anamtusi anamwambia, oh, you didn't do this. Or probably a kid tried to mop the house, then the stepmom came akamwambia, akamwaga maji tena akamwambia start afresh. Such kind of things, they usually demoralize someone to a point whereby by the time they get to be old enough, now they start remembering those memories and they take them back again. There's that point whereby unapata msee yes ameheal, but just a snap, through a snap of a finger, amerudi back. That memory is strong, so strong to a point whereby I think it's just the childhood traumas usually have a lot of impact to like people who are probably into, let's say, mental illness and all that. Because let's say for me, for an example, when I was young, I saw a friend of mine who, like, okay, he wasn't like the biological child to the family, the parents. So he was like, so the dad is the biological dad, the mom wasn't the biological mom. So whenever we could go to their place, we could be, it's like sisi juisi mabeshte zake, tungesaiwa food kidogo. But umadhe angesava watu wengine, so mimi unajua mi siezi feel, mi najua nikienda home sitaenda kula kwetu. So that's why this guy used to come to our place to eat. You see, tunakula kwetu alafu tunarudi kwa watu tukikea hiyo kidogo ni sawa, you know. So he could be like, you know, happy that amekula kwetu, amekula hapa, but you know that couldn't happen every single day. So to a point whereby umse kuna vile atakuwa na feel, hata kuwa anajua ni nini inaendelea ku build up. By the time this guy is like, let's say 18 19, now they realize, oh, now this was you know, this was like, this was like all this I was building up has now caused my trauma. And by the time nakuja kuchenchum say it's too late. So I think that also plays like a very very big role in terms of mental illness.
And how about academic pressures? Because I believe these Gen Zs, they're being, some of them are being brought up by millennial parents, you know, who believed in white collar jobs. But Gen Z anataka kai chini atengeneze content on TikTok, you know. That is life for them. But now there's a parent here who is now giving you pressure for you to become. Like he wants to see you a doctor, he wants to see you a teacher, and all that. So how has academic pressure caused these people to go into depression?
Sure, I think academic pressure has really like played like a big role in terms of all this happening, because I know for a reason that, okay, for me as well, when I was in class 4, class 5, class 6, you know, leave alone high school, you know, I really had to fight so hard to make sure that I was, let's say, position 3, position 4, position 5, like from position 5 upwards, mpaka number 1. You're literally at that gap. Ukikosa kuwa hapo, mzazi ataanza kukutafutia huko chini, so unajonga visiting day it gets tough. Wazazi wamekuja, and then one funny thing is results zenu nyi wote zimekuwa kwa wall moja. So mzazi asipokuona position 1 2 3 4 5 anaanza huko chini anakutafuta kipanda. And so you really wanted to, utaki huko chini, unataka kupanda juu. So and for someone, let's say, you know, there are people who wenye sima fast learner, kuna mtu mwenye ni slow learner na maybe mwalimu mwenye ako class anafunza mbio. And there are people, okay, for me, I remember when I was in school, my cousin was, we were in the same class, we used to sit like next to each other. My cousin yule mse mwenye tukifunza class, kitu mwalimu amefunza, that's what he'll grasp mbio. But now for me, I had to listen to what the teacher is saying, still go back to books, so that I could sustain my number 3, number 1, number 1, number 2, number 3, just somewhere there. For him, it's more of akishamaliza class, that's it. Kwanza, actually, he was so funny. Unaona teme when we were before tuende break, ama tumefungwa shule, ukijaribu kusoma na kuja, naona vile tumekaa hivi, he could come sit just hapa, naambia sasa niwaambie story. You know, for him, he's sure that he's going to grasp something. He's good at this. So I think academic pressures, hata mimi, like personally in my life, they really when I look back, I know, you know, it really cost a lot, and probably it's not me alone, a lot of other people. You know, you're told lazima ukuwe number 1, lazima ukuwe number 2, you have to maintain this in terms of, let's say, you have to become what probably your parents didn't become. So, and that really at some point can play you big time, because unaona ukichase dream yenye your parent alichase na haikukam true, na yakupatia na pia uchase isi come true. So you see, that will also be like a setback in your life. You'll be like, sasa, why did I even try as much to chase this dream? Na ingenisaidia at the end of the day. So that one also, because that's why you see the people in town, every kila siku kipita tao, ikuwe ni archives, you'll get someone who's like looking for a job. This guy got an airplane, this guy got like an A minus, like a smart one. And then ukiangalia, there's someone in an office, umsa ilipata C+. Lakini this guy has a good job in amlipado, umsa ilipata A ako huku nje. Why? Because probably they followed a dream that wasn't like theirs. You see, so na through your pressure alipata, na pia after kumaliza amepata grade mzuri, amepelekea paro, sasa kamboenda sasa jitafutie job. So na hiyo inamtenda big time.
The papers.
So umepelekea mzae mama the papers, amekwambia now go look for a job. You got the papers for me, now go look for a job. Wow.
Our viewer, that is very sensational topic, you know, and you can hear how these young people are going through. And I know, as we usually say, this is the same place that we are going to find solution or ways to navigate through these issues. So thank you so much for keeping it here. We are going to take a very short break. Don't leave your seats. We are going to be right back.
Welcome back, our viewer, to the Youth Nation this evening. I hope you are enjoying the talk of the day. At least you're being enlightened and being edified as always. So a little bit about mental wellness, like how you deal with it ukiwa in a cultural space, like societal.
Yeah.
Unaona, cause utangalia kuna places, let's give an example, like let's say you become pregnant while you're in church, and let's assume you're holding a position that is quite heavy and relevant, like there are people looking at you.
Yeah.
Like how do you handle that generally?
Okay, for me, I think there is a story that Julian Kula gave some time back. He said this, that there's a time they were hosting an event in church. Then there's a lady who came. I'll use a different example. There's a lady who came. Then this lady was wearing more of not like, she wasn't wearing decent. You know, there's a decent in church. There's a decent, you know, in the streets. So now she wasn't wearing the decent for church.
Quote unquote.
So when she came to church, it was an event. So you know, the mama kanisa, they took a leso. One of them took a leso, akakimbia akamfunika. You know, it's like she was rushing, akamfunika mbio mbio. Now the lady came to church, yes, but now, you know, let's talk about how the mama kanisa rushed kumfunika. So for her, probably she thought like, okay, nimevaa vibaya. You see, there's a way she perceived that action. You know, ungemkaribia pole pole na mwambie, hey, hi mom, this is what probably we usually do in our church, so please let's acha tukufunike tu leso. But now the way they rushed, so the lady is the top 3 fashionistas in the world. But now nobody knew. She just came to visit for the first time, and she never went back to church.
Wow.
Why? Because they took that story. Ama they took the way she was wearing. For her, she didn't know that's decent to, you know, that wasn't decent to the church,
the environment.
You know, for probably where she goes in church, you know, it's okay for that. So I mean, it's more of how we perceive things. Like, let's say now the pregnancy part. You see, in church, there's a way we perceive things, and the things that we never taught, like kuna zile vitu zinatufunzwagi tunaambiwanga tu, ama like it's more of we try to create stories. I mean, we are in church, we are worshiping, but still unapata watu wanaenda kupiga udaku, wanasema nani, you know,
it's human nature.
So it's more of the things we need. I think it needs, there's an education that needs to come up the same way we are doing. Let's say we are in church, but unapataga there's an apostle in the marketplace who's trying to teach people on business. It's the same way we should have. Let's say pasi akikuja church anatuambia, you know, kuna ile education yenye tunafaa kupewa in terms of not only tukuje church tuombe tuende. You know, even God anapenda wase, you know, so as much as you go to church, there's a I think our pasi anatuambiaga unaweza kuja church, yes, lakini pia God apendi wase wenye lazima pia ukuwe na kakitu. Like I mean, in terms of money, that's why unapata there's an apostle or probably a pasi who's trying to teach people on finances and everything. So it's quite ni kama tuna raise to believers. We raise believers who are aware of what they're doing.
So more of being holistically informed. Because one thing I'm picking from there is, even when the Bible says that Christ came for the lost sheep, you know, so it is us learning how to embrace this kind of people. And one thing I think that has been some kind of controversial is these things happen for people who are in church. Someone happens to be pregnant, and of course you won't say that this person has not had that teaching of abstinence until marriage, but they mess up and they happen to be pregnant. Then it becomes hard for the religious family to embrace this kind of person back. Believe we're supposed to extend love because, and show compassion, because even if we don't happen to fall in that kind of path, we ourselves fall in other ways, you know, the other things that we are not good at. Kuna mali tu manze things happen, things flop.
Yeah.
Ni vile tu sasa yetu haionekani sana kama ya huyu mwenye the pregnancy scene. You can see they had a child maybe outside wedlock, something like that. But I believe we are all supposed to show compassion. We're supposed to show the love of God. Actually spread the love of God. For us, being Christ-like is to become just have the attributes that Christ had. And maybe on the same thing about the cultural, you know, there are these people who believe and strongly believe that the boy child, he's the man, he's the leader. So the way kids are being, not even kids, the way people are being raised, and especially the boy child was a man is supposed to provide for the family. But now we are in a generation where we say what a man can do, a girl can do better, you know. And so somehow, it's making the boy child lose the position as the man. Ladies, hiyo kitu hawatambui, especially Gen Z. Hii kitu
nasonga tu,
hawatambui ni kusonga tu. And I can tell this is something that has really affected the young man, because one thing you can see is at some point it's a millennial who is marrying a Gen Z, and these marriages are not lasting, because this Gen Z believes whatever she can do, this man can do, she can do even better. How, and I know it has caused some of them going into depression. How can we address the societal issues, especially for Gen Z? Poleni kwa kuwaonea, but I think you people need some lessons.
So I think it's more of, it's something that is in our society today, because I mean, there's something I usually tell people, that you can't take two same ingredients and make something different out of it. You will never. You know, you will never take let's say a line like what a man can do, I can do better, and my man must provide for me. Take those two lines and then try to bring something good out of it. Never. You know, if you're saying my man must provide for me, then you know, it's like the same thing, value and value. Like value reciprocates to value. So at the end of the day, there are things that we must know, that you will never, like, you know, you will say all this, you'll probably be like, okay, at the end of the day, what a man can do, I can do better. Then jioni, tunakupata, you know, it's like you're preaching water and you're drinking wine. You see, so if you're preaching water, take water. You know, if you're drinking, like, you know, I'm not like attributing to this, but if you're, you know, if you're preaching wine, you know, sometimes, you know, you can't, you know, there's someone who's preaching wine, they won't go and take water.
Walk the talk.
Just walk the talk. I mean, at the end of the day, it's more of, let's focus on the, you know, the bigger picture. If you're saying my man must provide for me, then what are you providing for them? You know, if they are providing financially, are you providing for them emotionally? I mean, because you see, in our generation today, let's say two people are wedded, right? They're a family. But now, the man is providing financially, yes. But now when he comes home every single day, anakujanga tu, anaambiwa tu, mbona umekuja late, mbona nini, just scandals all over. You know, hiyo pekee haimpatii peace. So at the end of the day, if, you know, let's do it, let's make it like a, what can I say? Like, let's make it like a habit of, if I'm providing financially, provide for me emotionally. If I'm providing for you emotionally, like, let's try to balance these things.
But again, even when you talk about that, Gen Zs think if you don't even have to work, get a rich man and
that's
you make it in life. And that's why you can see, even in our schools, especially in colleges and universities, these young girls, they are after these big daddies because of the chums. For her, it's about having a comfortable life. Rent is paid. Some her school fees are paid. You know, just that comfortable life, and that is it for them. But you see, there's this other part of human life. You know, everyone desires to grow. Everyone desires to grow, and it's different when I don't know how to put this, but I know are these people even happy at first place?
One thing I know is that they're not happy.
They're not happy.
Because you see, the whole thing, I'm sure they're not happy. I know probably someone is going to watch this and be like, okay. One thing I'm sure is, the whole thing starts from the roots.
Yeah.
From the point of how this person was brought up. If it's a girl, probably they were brought up in an environment whereby nobody was taking care of them.
Yeah.
They didn't receive that fatherly love. So they get to a point whereby when they're like 19, now they're in campus, they want to look for someone older to satisfy what wasn't satisfied when they were younger.
The father issues.
The father issues.
Yeah.
So when they get someone who's older, they understand them. Actually, that's what they say, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
For me, the reason I'm going to look for someone who's older than me, it's because they understand me, they
He
pamper me.
listens.
That's something they didn't receive when they were young.
Yeah.
So it's an issue now when they've grown up.
Then they want to compensate that.
And one thing they don't realize is there's this thing of it takes longer but it lasts longer. What if you decide to to roll let's flip the coin the other side and look at it this way? You might decide to go, or probably to stay with the older person, and at the end of the day they have an option. Remember, for them, you don't have an option, but they have an
you
option.
rely on
They
them.
can decide to be like, today staki story ya zako, so I'm going to look for someone else. They have an option, but do you have an option? No. But what if you look for someone who's probably the same age with you, or probably the same age gap with you, and grow that person's dream, and they also grow your dream. At the end of the day, it will take longer. Yes, you'll go through some tough times together, but you'll get to a point whereby you are the same people who will reap the fruit of what you decided to create. That's what our generation is not seeing. Generation yetu wako zile za mi nataka mse mwenye we want our needs to be satisfied mbio tu. And one thing I'm sure is, unaona hata ukionaga hizi magari zikikujanga, mtu anakujiwa na V8 shule, lakini hizo vioo zimefungwa. I mean, if they're proud,
if they're proud of that,
I mean, they should do that. If they're proud of what they're doing, then acha hiyo gari kikuja, kio tu ikwe chini,
shuka hata
gari, angalia around. That's one thing that should happen. But now it's not happening at all. They're like comfortable with what they have, but at the end of the day, unapata mtu like they're all looking at the money. They're not looking at the there's a lot that is happening in our generation today. And I think it should be dealt from the roots coming all the way up.
No, what I pick from that is that these young people are going through issues that they are not able to express it, or maybe they feel they were deprived of something in their childhood that they want to compensate it now. So it doesn't matter the cost, it doesn't matter the means to it, as long as they have it. But at the end of the day, now these are the same person who will go into depression because this married man has a family somewhere already, and they have to go back to their family. So what happens?
I think that causes, it's the same thing as we've said. The older man has or probably, let's say in quotes, sponsor. See, but that's what they call them. If the sponsor decides to be like, okay, I'm done with you, let me go back to my family, what will happen to this girl? What will happen is, number one, definitely, if they were used to, it's the same thing. An example, if you're used to taking milk every single day, then siku moja tu ukose, you'll be sick. If you're used to taking meat every single day, then siku moja tu utakosa. You'll feel there is something off with me. And then now if you miss it the second day, the third day, wow, it will hit you. You're getting more sick. You'll be like, no, I want to go back there. So what happens is, it's either they'll go out there looking for someone again to satisfy those needs, ama they'll again be like, okay, now I'm done. They'll be like, no, I probably the first 2-3 days, then now they'll be like, now I'm probably, someone can decide to go into drugs. Someone can decide to be like, the world doesn't ni kama ninaonewa and all that. And it's a two-way traffic, or probably even 3, because you see, that person can either give up, that person can either go into like a mental illness, or that person can either decide to go, to even take it a notch higher.
It is true.
And probably be like, now I'm going to look for 2 of them, and sasa niko na option in case one leaves, I have this other one. And now it becomes even more worse. Now what generation are we raising if you're saying that, if you're doing that? Now if you're growing up having kids, what will they you know, know of you,
culture.
like
How do
what
you
you know,
raise them?
how do you even raise them?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the yes, you are, unajua kuna ile time yenye tunasemaga ini time ya kuchase the bug, right?
Yeah.
But now when you get to that point, you're like, okay, now when you look back, it's like when you've committed a sin.
Yeah.
Unajua kabisa this is a sin.
Yeah.
But again, you know, you'll go back to God. God will be like, okay, you're my son, you're my daughter. Nimekuleta back.
Yeah.
Lakini tena uko zile za tena nirudi. You get? So
Yeah.
it's more of, it's something that is playing our generation. And I feel like it's a lot. And we need to find a solution, which we are finding right here.
Yeah. And a little bit about the men, like the providing issue. There was a guy anaitwa Pastor Kingsley.
Yeah.
He was mentioning that women don't have the cash to work. So if the woman already has the catching, like, and she's working, you're supposed to now like frame how the money is going to be used. Instead of you just trying to struggle, you can provide emotionally. Isikuwe tu ati ni wewe ndo una provide financially, because the game has completely changed.
Yeah.
Unapata sahi CEOs wanakubalika sana, they are women, because sasa the people that sit on the board, they are claiming that if you tell a woman what to do, she'll just work on it.
Yeah.
A man kind of CEO atasema no, we need to change things, and the board doesn't want things that are going against them. So ukipata somebody mwenye amekafunga and maybe it's a lady, just know that the cast work does not
Work on them.
you are lucky if, if you do find any.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Okay.
And maybe now if we look at now the rate of unemployment in Kenya is just something else.
Yeah.
And you can see people are going into depression because of the kind of the state of the nation currently. Things are getting tighter and tighter every day, and some of these people have to look for shortcuts, and others, especially for a man. Do you guys have shortcuts?
Shortcuts zitakosekanaje?
You're not looking for a lady. You have just to look for this man who has made it.
Yeah.
And you're good for you guys.
You know, there's this thing about okay, umemaliza college ama uni, one thing you are expecting and you're feeling entitled to is work.
Definitely.
Like a job, unataka that security, unataka uanze kuingiza kaching pia wewe. Very soon you're seeing yourself driving the car, and you know there's that expectation, and then there's the way things are working now. And you're trying to break the wacha tuseme kuchase the bag. You're trying to get it, but nikapia bag inakimbia. Ingawa uipati pia. So you start getting into this thing like, okay, mental, you feel like it's like you're losing it, but okay, sitaki ku complain so much about it. There's some point penye this, you not getting what you want makes you quite strong. Watu wanaweza sema bitter, but there's something that it naweza create in you that is positive. So about the state of the nation, things feeling tighter, first of all, you're not the only one experiencing it. Many people are experiencing it, but unajua ikifika it's personal, you feel like you're the only one in this thing. And you unataka, especially for men, men, when things are not right, waga tunapotea. Potea hadi kitu ikuwe solved. Like for women, you can meet, talk, solution inaweza patikana. And besides, for you girls, mkishare information and just sharing your problems, you've solved the problem like halfway. Unaona? So for the man, it's now like fight back to back, and you are alone. Una feel nika vitu haziko well, and then you're seeing the suicidal cases. Most are men. Unashanga, hey, kwani what's going on? Unaona?
What do you have to tell our young men?
Wow, okay. For the young men, I think one thing I'll tell them is either you become bitter or better. Those two are very key. So if you become bitter, you're losing a generation. If you become better, you're creating a generation. So I think for most of us, there is something, when you're going through pain, there is something that cultivates in you. And that's something that cultivates in you, is that the aspect of being determined, the aspect of being let's say consistent every single day, you might be unaweza kuna chase bag lakini unaona ni kama maze haipatikani,
Haifiki bana, iko
haifiki.
wapi?
So you see, that moment is trying to cultivate you in terms of having patience. That moment is trying to cultivate you to tell you like, what, I think sometimes there is this phrase that we usually take as a joke, God's timing is always the best. Unajua pia God haizi kupatia a million shillings sahi now you haven't even handled like 1,000 shillings. I think we talked about that last time. There is no way. So God is trying to build you in a way. Pia wewe angalia on your side like, okay, God gave me like 100 shillings today, what did I do with it? Before akupatie hiyo do, because unaweza patia hiyo mita upotee. Naona tunasikia kesho mazee no, like it's just like that, because at the end of the day it's more of the patience that is being built, the commitment, the consistency. So at the end of the day ukipata your bag sasa, you are a full package. You're not like a half package of it. So that's what I can tell young people out there who are chasing the dream, the bag and everything, that you either become bitter or better during the process.
Now there's this point where it gets that you need to seek help. But again, there's been, I would say, is it stereotyping or how do you put it? Whereby when you go talk about mental illness, this is associated with madhare. Automatically, manze, this guy has gone mental. Sasa hapa, diagnosis inapatikana tu madhare, and people hide from that because they don't want to be associated with that. How can we advise the young people to seek help, because help is available?
So I think everything is usually in a 3-dimensional way. There is the early stage, there is the middle stage, and there is the late stage. In everything there is an early stage whereby ka issue tu kametokea. So you can either solve it here. It's like, let's say something just comes up in this room, we can either solve it here ama tuache itoke tu kwa hiyo room, na ikitoka kwa hiyo room we are like, let's say 5 of us. When we get out there, I have a friend, you have a friend, you have a friend. It will be how many people? 10 people. When those 10 people go now outside, it will be like, let's say 20 more people. So it keeps on growing like that. But if we could have solved in here, the 5 of us, then it could have made like sense. But now when it moves outside there, so I think one thing we can talk about opening up. Sometimes maybe someone has been opening up to people. Like, let's say I can open up to someone today. Let's say I can open up to you, and then ufike mahali uniruke uambie msee nikuje kusikia story from a third party. Namuuliza nani alikushow? Now that's when atajua okay ilikuwa siri. So now when you get it from there, you're like, now I'm not going to open up to anyone. The next time you try again, someone betrays you again. It's like, let's say in a relationship, you're the good guy, or you're the good girl. You get heartbroken the first time. The second time you get heartbroken. The third time you get heartbroken, uko zile za this thing is not working for me. You're like, this thing is not working for me. So at the end of the day, it's more of it's just realizing that tukisolve hizi vitu from the early stages, because if it's in relationship inakuwaga probably communication. Unaona, you realize that this person alikuwa na, let's say you're the good person in the relationship, then you get heartbroken. Yes, it wasn't your fault, it was this other person's fault, but you saw something in him and ulikuwa unafaa kumwambia that you're supposed to communicate, tell me this, tell me that, but ukumwambia mpaka ikakuwa worse. So you waited until that issue went way further. But ungemwambia that first day yenye alifika home late, mwambie leo umefika late, let's talk about this. But yes, kia kwanza atajaribu aone, okay, you didn't say anything. The next time they'll do it, you won't say anything. Now they'll make it a habit. But if you talk about it on the first stage, before it matures, like just like a tree. Unajua mti ikiwa ndogo, you can try to bend it kwa zile za, now I want you to grow this way. I want you to grow this way. Ama maybe like there is this thing of taking, unapataga there is a tree whereby is cut, then unaweza mesha another kind of, let's say a different species of a tree. You're grafting. The grafting now. So if it's doing grafting, do it at an early age, a tender age, so that you can unaweza change umse. You can take some aspects from you, put them kwake, then these people will, the same thing with opening up. You see, if you see someone is struggling mentally, approach them. There is a day in school I ever approached someone, then I was like, okay, I usually I'd be like, hi, how are you? but genuinely, you know, genuinely makes a lot of sense. And people, okay, Tambiam say, hi, how are you? Then they'll be like, I'm good. But genuinely, how are you? You know, they'll be like, okay, this is what I've been going through. So you can realize that umsa yuko fiti, you'll go talk to them. And apart from that also, if someone shares something to you, like one thing I can tell people out there is that, you know, just keep it with you. You know, jumse kuna ile point nafikaga mse mwenye, for someone to collect the guts akwambia what's happening in their life. Let's say someone has been having like the sponsor, right? Then ameacha, like anataka kuabstain. Akuja kuambie, you know, kwako itakuwa big deal. You'll be like, hey, I didn't know this. So utaenda ambie mse, unaona, wewe ujui she's the guts. Hey, it's something she's releasing now. Anakuambia, then aone vile utamsaidia. But now if you're trying to hold on to that, then waende ambie mse mwingine. Now she'll be like, okay, what was the position of even like, why did I even say it? You know, what was the point of even saying it? So she'll probably go right back. So if you're like someone who's a confident, msame kuza mekwambia kitu, I mean, just try as much as you can to see how you can change them. You know, and if you can't if you can't help them, then try as much as you can, like just look for ways. There's always a way.
Ataanza kufeel tena the judgmental place kama amerudishwa,
sure,
because she's already judging herself or himself. Then anarudi to a place penye sasa it's people. Akipatana naye anajua unajua story yangu. And there's another thing that I found out, like, you see, meeting strangers. Seme umepanda Uber and then you're having a conversation with the driver. There's something about speaking up with a stranger that so doesn't know you. Like,
it's a therapy.
You feel it's therapy. Like una release, it's you just feel good after the conversation. And the fact that you've spoken it out, at least you've released something.
And I think one thing again that makes it more therapeutic is because this is a stranger. They absolutely don't know you. So you don't even have the fear of being judged. Because you know, at the end of the day, this guy doesn't even know me. I don't know him. So his story imeshia tu hapo.
And there's something about taking therapy, like, okay, Africans. Okay, I know it will be something by the soon. It's going to be something. But as for now, to some people it looks crazy that unaenda kuongea na mse ati I've not been feeling well.
Please tell me, how was the feeling good? For how long have you been feeling that?
Man. You know, emotions hazina painkiller. Like, and the pain ya emotion, it's just as equal as the pain ya physical.
Just true.
Physical tunaweza treat, we can see it. Emotional, it's hidden. If you don't release it by words, then how will you receive the healing, like, by another person? And you really need another person to receive the healing. Like yendo anezona something that is deep, kuna kitu tu iko rooted that you can't see. So taking therapy should not be.
It's good. You know, there's some generations behind us. They can't believe you're paying 5,000 for someone to sit and listen to you. Wow.
Kitu neza enda niite beshte yangu tupige story hapa ishe. Like, why should I pay 5,000? You know,
But fear friends, okay, we shouldn't cut out friends, like, they're friends that genuinely like kuambia to something, solution imetokea like from nowhere, and the problem is done. Like
so I think that's looking for valuable. Looking for value in those friendship, not just any person. Maybe even as we come to a close of today's topic, what is your parting shots? What can you tell Gen Zs?
What I can tell every Gen Z out there is that at the end of the day, it's not about, you know, the good days. It's not about the, you know, sometimes everybody has a good day and a bad day. You know, everybody has the good things and the bad things that they're used to. But at the end of the day, kitu naweza ambia generation yangu ni that, you know, let's focus on growing ourselves. Let's focus on the generation that is coming. Like, iskwe that generation yetu tunafocus tu kuwana. In terms of kuwana, I mean, if it's in terms of mental illness, because you see there's so many people, like, usingoja hadi mse afike the last stage, unataka tu uende kwa comments zake ku type to RIP, kusema I knew this person, he was a nice guy, but time yenye alikuwa msick, because you see there's the story I told you earlier about a student leader who died. I mean, when the group was created for them wachangishe do wase hawakutokea. Like yes, kuna wase walitokea, yes, waka, but there are people who are viewing just, you know, kuna wase kwa na view tu status yake, wanaona ni jokes, but now when it became serious mpaka kapass, ndo waliona ni kama okay, it's serious now. But so ukicheki bili ya burial yake itakuwa sorted, right? Mbona mku sort payment yake time alikuwa OC? So that's one thing that our generation should look at, to focus on building each other, creating a better future for ourselves, and our generation that is coming.
Even as we close it, maybe you can tell us where can we get your books and how can we reach you?
I've written a book and a magazine. My book is called The Mindset of a Billionaire. It talks about a poor kid with a rich dream. I've also written the Billionaire magazine. It's a magazine that I want to use to reach out to the young people out there. So on every platform, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere, on X, it's Brian Nyambego. If you need a copy of my book, you'll just contact me, then you'll get it there.
Yo, that has been the Youth Nation for you this evening. I hope you've gotten something out of our topic about mental wellness. And if anything, try and put what we've talked about into action, and surely it's going to help. So that has been it for the show. See you next Saturday.